could you eat a meal this big every day for a year and lose weight? But if you used homemade bone broth as the base, with all those bones from holiday meals that you might otherwise be throwing out. Why are you throwing that out? It's gonna make an amazing soup. We're making the broth today, we're making the soup today. Let's get to it. Around the holidays, you might have a lot of bones coming through your kitchen. Poultry, pork, beef, whatever it is. I've got some poultry here today. Some meat is still on here. You could leave the meat on here. I'm gonna just pick some of this off. We'll use it in a soup. And so you got something that looks something like this. Something like this. Stovetop, crock pot, pressure cooker. My favorites are kind of anything but the stovetop. We're gonna do this in a pressure cooker. Pressure cooker, manual setting, about 2 hours. That takes a little longer than 2 hours to get it up to temperature and to complete it. But all we're gonna do is put the bones in, cover them with water, put it in the pressure cooker, and get it going. Do the same thing with a crock pot, bones in, cover it with water, let it go overnight, maybe let it go through the day. I would not let it go more than 24 hours or it will get bitter. After 12 to 24 hours in the crock pot, you're gonna then strain off the broth. You can put the bones back in and do another batch. Same with a pressure cooker, but that's only 2 hours. Stovetop, not my choice. The reason is I feel like the odor is a little bit off. Maybe I'm just kind of sensitive to it. I don't think it affects everybody in the same way, but what you would do is you would put it on the stovetop, cover it with water, and just like the crock pot, let it go maybe 12 hours, let it go 24 hours, and then strain it. That's your broth. You can put the bones back in again. That's it. It's really that simple. So you're gonna see a lot of people overcomplicating it, maybe adding vinegar, maybe adding some salt or whatever else. Add anything you want. Add anything you want in its basic sense. All you need to do is get some of that flavor, some of the minerals out of the bones and into your water. That makes the broth, that makes the stock, whatever you want to call it whatever you want. Turn it into a really great soup or just drink it. It's amazing, okay? That's it. So this is going into our pressure cooker. Right in there, that's all. Cover it with water. Turn it on. Okay, so I lost a lot of weight and I'm the founder of Eat Like a Bear. But back before those Eat Like a Bear days, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I made this YouTube video called 12 Days of Broth that popularized a concept in homemade broth amongst the blogosphere about a continuous broth making method. So you put the bones in, you make your batch of broth, you strain the bones out, you put them back in, you put in new water. That came from this little video I did. It was like 15 years ago. And it's based on a traditional cooking method. So I did not invent it. I simply got the idea from my mom, who got the idea from people she had met throughout her life. It just had never hit the interwebs at that point. My point is, I know something about broth, and I'm gonna tell you here today. Keep it simple and leverage your opportunity in the holidays. That is the time when you may have the leftovers of an entire turkey, a giant ham bone, whatever it is that you have, any sort of bone, you can use this method. As our broth cooks, a quick word about holiday eating. I was pretty strict through the holidays of 2017, and it's something that I teach in the psychology content at Eat Like a Bear is how to be strict, how to just draw that line and walk away. But all these years later, I have a number of other strategies adaptable to all kinds of circumstances. And so while I ate 0 desserts in the fall of 2017, for instance, I do now eat desserts on occasion. If you follow me, you know it's pretty rare. But I've got this holiday ebook, and you can buy it. Consider that a word from the sponsor of this video. But also, I'll tell you by email, a slick little strategy for working the dessert into the holidays without going on a total bender. You'll also get emails from me with a weekly story. But oh wait, 2 hours has magically passed. Let's strain our broth and make our soup. Facial, we're gonna just strain the broth out. There's still a lot of bone left in here. I'm gonna do another batch. I'm just putting water right over the top like I did before, and we're gonna do a second batch, have more soup tomorrow. Now you could just toss the bones, you could make your soup in that pressure cooker. Let me point out, right now, this broth is hot. This is the easiest time to make your soup, and that is what I'm going to do. I had some broccoli in the freezer. This does not have to be fancy. Frozen broccoli right into the broth. But due to video magic, mine's already cooked. Look at that, it's already cooked. You're gonna ask for the recipe, you're gonna wonder about this, but I'm gonna tell you there is a pureed broccoli soup on this channel already. It is the Panera copycat. Go to that, Go to that if you want to go through all the ingredients, but this has broth. It has the broccoli. Remember that chicken we pulled off the bone? I'm putting this in here too. There it goes. I'm adding some cream, mainly because I need to use it up. I would often put cheddar in this instead. Let's use the cream up today. Wasn't much in there. That's plenty. That's good. The other thing is absolutely none of this is salted. It is going to need a good bit of salt. Let's not fool around. Dangerous when you take the lid off. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll keep it at that. Pepper. Oh, I feel the same way. Here we go. Whew. I want to puree this. I'm going to just use this immersion blender. Whew. Oh, wow. Okay. This is delicious. Whew. That chicken gives it a little bit of a density. My meals, and eating one meal a day, I tend to have in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 ounces of protein on top of the salad or the soup or the skillet or whatever it is. You can find the soup recipes and skillet recipes in the book Half My Size with a Ridiculously Big Skillet. The salad book is also available, but I actually pureed the chicken right into this soup. It kind of thickens it. It gives it that density of flavor, a fullness. It's really pretty amazing. But this has a lot of broth in it. I'm gonna thicken it up with a bit of xanthan gum as well. But otherwise, it's done. It's really done and it's delicious. Salt, let's thicken it. I don't always thicken properly in these videos, but let's do it somewhat properly today. I'm gonna put some of this soup in here. Xanthan gum, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon. People do thicken with flour in the low carb world. Xanthan gum and glucomannan powder are options. So I've put in my soup, I've put in some of the thickener, and I'm gonna really mix it up. This helps keep it from getting too lumpy when you add directly. Oh yeah, that's very thick. Just get a little bit more of this in. So sometimes when I'm lazy, I just sprinkle the thickener over the top and whip it really well into the soup. You can end up with lumps that way. If you don't care, then who cares? So you can see this is super thick compared to the soup. We're gonna mix the two together. I feel like most people are gonna want maybe another tablespoon of the thickener. So let's add that. I'm happy to kind of eat it as it is. I never fine tune any of this stuff. You know, especially on days when you're just tired. Honestly, on days when I'm really tired, I'm probably not making a homemade broth at all. So this recipe probably isn't in the mix on those days. But you sure could make a double batch and freeze it for those bad days. Those days when you're just needing a little extra help. People having surgery or dental work where they might need something pureed. My goodness, here you go. In advance of, say, the surgery or the dental work, you could make a double batch of this regularly and freeze half of it for the future. That'd be great. I mean, that's really how we have to be thinking about this. And so the part of the video I have been looking forward to, it is time to eat. I will eat in my shamelessly big bowl. Yes, I was a 1 meal a day eater to lose 140 pounds, and I ate giant meals like this. It seems like if you just eat once and the rest of the day you're not eating, you're gonna be hungry all the time. You guys, to a large degree, that hunger is trained. Maybe you adapt this into 2 meals. People are taking this and adapting it in all kinds of ways. But for me, the very best strategy, eat and go be awesome.